Hey everyone, and welcome to another live. I'm Victoria Jennings. Thank you for being with me here today. Um, Today I wanted to talk a little bit about something that was an absolute game changer in my college business. You know, my 20-year-old business that's very mature and very, very successful and doesn't need me in it anymore. Okay, so the biggest game changer for us was getting repeat business and loyalty. And how did we do that? What drives the loyalty and therefore drives repeat business? Your customer service strategies. It is huge, huge, can make a massive difference in your business. Doing it differently to how your competitors do it. Doing it better to how your competitors do it. And you don't even have to change it drastically. You just have to be a little bit better than the business next door, okay, doing the same things. Because, you know, we all do similar things. All businesses do similar things. So IPS Institute is a registered training organisation. What does that mean? Well, that means, like, for Australians, it means we're a private TAFE college. All right, everyone knows in Australia what TAFE is. For our international friends, it means we are a community college. All right, it's where apprentices go to learn their trade. So we're a trade school, okay, and we're given government funding to deliver apprenticeship training. Now, something that we're really known for, and is the reason why we really don't do any sales anymore, we don't have to, is we do our training flexibly, very flexibly, on site, so that our clients, who are the construction companies, our clients don't have to come to a college for their staff to get the training that they need. We go to them, number one. But not only do we go to them, we go to them at the times that are convenient, most convenient, to release them from doing their productive work. All right. So we've got to give them some theory, right? We've got to give them theory. We've got to give them time to practice the skills. There's lots of things that we need to do. And our competitor, the private college, the public college, they require, mostly, not all, but mostly, they require that the construction company release those apprentices to go to college for 7 weeks to do their training in 7-week blocks. Can you imagine what impost that is on the productiveness of that construction company? And you got to remember, construction companies deal with a lot of money. A lot of money goes through their business, but they only make about 10% profit maximum on any project. That's not a lot. So if you've got staff disappeared for 7 weeks off your building site and you're still paying them the salary, that is a huge impost, a huge burden to bear for that business. Okay, so we worked out a way where we can still get them the knowledge that they need and still take them through all of the things they need to go through over the course of their apprenticeship to be competent and become as a qualified apprentice, right? We worked out a way of doing that one-on-one while they're on site. Now, that's a huge impost for us to deliver that, okay? Because most deliver one-to-many in our industry. Most do one-to-many, require them to be released from work. Well, we don't do that. we go to them and we do it on site, and we only take one out at a time to do that, which means the rest of their apprentices are still being productive while we're training one-on-one. Does that make sense? So do you think, if you're a construction company, would you like to go with the college that requires your apprentice for 7 weeks at a time, not just once a year? It's 7 weeks, I think, times 3 times a year. Okay, so all that downtime, not having that person on your team, but still paying for them, even though they're not there? Or would you prefer to release them for a few hours at a time, and we go in like regularly? We're always on site, right? Or release them for a couple of hours at a time while all your other apprentices are still working, only releasing one at a time, and get the same outcome. They're still going to get all the training. They're going to get all the guidance. They're going to get all the coaching, right? And they're still going to end up with their qualifications, but they don't have 21 weeks of downtime in the year. It's a bit of a no-brainer. So just yesterday, just to put it in perspective, just yesterday we had a phone call from someone, I'm not going to say who, rang the office and said, I've heard that you deliver training this way. I heard from another construction company. Okay, and they've decided, and they were with the public provider, after a conversation on the phone that they instigated because of our reputation, they rang us. They're moving over to us now. They're leaving the public provider behind simply because of how we deliver our training and meet the needs of our client. We meet the needs of our client. We understand the industry, and we've worked out a way to deliver it without compromise to us, but no compromise to the apprentice or to the construction company, right? How to do it in a more effective way for our client, the construction company. So that's why we don't really have a dedicated sales team anymore. We did in the beginning, but once your reputation's out there, repeat business starts happening, people talk about you, and you've got people coming in every day. So our clients, once they've finished, the apprentices have completed their training, they always put on a new apprentice. That's just the industry, the nature of the industry. Who do you think they call for the next apprentice? It's a no-brainer. And that's why we don't need a sales team. Not a big sales team, right? Because they're calling us. The repeat business keeps coming in without any effort, without any advertising, it's just how it happens. And in our industry, it means 20 or 30 enrollments at a time, often, once a year kind of thing. Because the other thing that happens is there's a high attrition rate. Like, I don't know why this happens, but when apprentices get their qualification, they leave the company. I don't get it. I don't understand it, but it's like it's expected. It's expected when they complete their training, they leave and go to a different place, which leaves a hole, which means we need another recruited apprentice in their place, right? It's just how the industry is. So that repeat business is always coming in. So if you do it just a little bit better than your competitor, and our major competitor is the public provider, right? You do it just a little bit better than them. Serving your customer, like really serving your customer. Because that's the other thing. Customer service strategies, has really lost what it really means. Serving the customer is something not many people do anymore. You know, you can look at our going shopping for groceries now. I hate it. I don't do it anymore. I actually hate going to the shopping centres now. I don't do it. I won't buy my groceries from a big grocery store. So I will go to my local grocery market. I will go to my local fruiterer. I'll go to my local butcher. I would rather do that and have get in the car and drive to the next one and drive to the next one and drive to the next one than go to those large supermarkets. And there's only two, maybe three brands in Australia, right, that we use. And you have to queue up to get your groceries out, right? But not only that now, not only queuing up, which was always painful, but now you have to scan your products yourself and pack them yourself. What happened to the customer service strategies in that model? Because I am not, as a customer, going to do their job for them. I refuse. So I don't shop there anymore. I just won't. I will actually order it online when I'm really desperate and can't get out, or it's rainy or whatever. I'll order it online and have it delivered. But I haven't set foot in a major supermarket for probably 4 or 5 years because I hate how they serve the customer now. And not only do you have to go and check out the stuff yourself and pack it yourself, they then treat you like you're a criminal and you've probably stolen something, and they got to, check everything that you've put in there and make sure you've scanned it all, and you feel like a thief when you're not a thief. You're having to do it because they no longer serve the customer. It's beyond me how many people still queue up and do it. You know what? If we boycotted that system for a week, they'd get rid of it, and they'd bring back the old-fashioned way. Okay? Now, maybe it's because I'm an older generation, but I remember when we not only had a packer at the end of every aisle, we had a happy face greet us, how are you today? We had a little chin wag while they're scanning the stuff through. Someone else was packing it. It took no time to get through that line, that queue, because there were two people doing things. There was one scanning, there was one packing. They packed your trolley, and in the early days, they used to even push it out to the car for you. I love that. That's called customer service. That makes it easier and makes it a lovely experience for the customer. Are you getting my drift? Because this relates to your business too, right? If I could go to a petrol station, right, a gas station for my international friends, okay? If I could go to the petrol station like I used to be able to, as I don't know anything about what's under the hood of my car, and I don't want to know anything about what's under the hood of my car. Okay? I just don't want to know. So we used to be able to pull up at the service station. Someone would come out from inside the office. They would pump the petrol, ask you how much you wanted, pump the petrol for you. While the petrol was pumping, they would go around and check your tyres and make sure you had enough air in your tyres, all while you're sitting in your vehicle. Haven't got out of it. You've wound your window down, that's it. Okay? And then they would check under the hood and make sure your oil was good. And they would check your water and make sure you had enough water in there. They would check your water of your windscreen wipers to make sure you're able to wipe your windscreen. And then they would actually clean your windscreen front and back for you with the squidgy mop thing. Then they tell you how much it was, and they would take payment. And if you didn't have the right change, because in those days it was cash, right? There wasn't credit cards then. I'm talking a long time ago. But then they would come back with your change as well. All while you sat in the car. Now, if I could find a petrol station that would do that today, and even if they charged more, I wouldn't care. I would pay anything for that service. Now, I'm very fortunate. I have a wonderful mechanic who understands how I miss those days, and he lets me go there just to get my tires checked, and he checks the water and he checks the oil, and he doesn't even charge me for that because they look after my vehicles. I've always taken my vehicles to them, right? I look after them, but they look after me. So, and he's miles away from where I live, but I will make that 20-minute drive so that I don't have to worry about doing my tires myself. And I don't have to worry that I haven't got enough water in the engine or oil in the engine or whatever. And now they don't even have to do that. He does a diagnostic on the vehicle. It tells him what it needs, right? But the point is, I still go, and I will always go to that mechanic because he goes above and beyond. He never charges me for that, ever. And I offer to pay, and he goes, no. You're one of our customers. No. It's all good. Okay. That's customer service. Does that create loyalty? Absolutely, yes, it does, because I won't go anywhere else. I wouldn't dream of going anywhere else. Right? He's a Mercedes dealer. I love Mercedes. I only have Mercedes cars, but I always take my Mercedes to them. And I tell everyone else about them. I happily tell everyone else I know about them. So that's what customer service really is, and we've lost the plot in business. Customer service no longer exists. Everything is about how to automate, how to take away the touch points from our clients, right? And charge them the same amount. I just think it's sad and disgusting, and we need to bring customer service strategies back. And when you do bring customer service strategies back, the effect on your business is enormous because no one else is serving customers anymore. So, I really want you to think about what's happening with your customer service right now. What strategies have you put in place for the way you serve your client so that you create loyalty and you create repeat business? So you won't need to do sales eventually, because there's a tipping point where once your business is established and earning X amount of dollars, and you've got this repeat business coming in now because of your customer service strategies, then there's a tipping point where you no longer need to advertise. That's what you want to get to, because that's a really successful business model, sustainable business model. Alex Hormozi talks about this a lot, and he says you just got to do it a little bit better than your competitors, and you win every time. And the other thing you can do that people don't do is ask your customers what they would like. What would really, mean the world to them? And it could be such a little thing. It could be such a little thing that would change the game for them. Doesn't have to be a big deal. Doesn't have to be a big thing. Okay, it also ties into the value we creates loyalty and repeat business as well. So what value are you providing to your clients and customers right now? List it out and then look at how could I improve that? What would delight the customer? What would delight the client? As myself, right, when I was being serviced by this business before I had it myself, what delighted me? What lit me up? What made me feel warm and fuzzy as a customer or a client? What is that? You know, I work with a lot of mentors. Everyone knows I do. I'm a lifelong learner. I believe in it and I walk the walk and talk the talk. So I just don't give coaching. I get coaching as well in different areas. And we're always learning, and especially now. The information that we need now is like off the charts ridiculous, right? And if you're not keeping up with it, you're not going to keep up with it. You know what I mean? Like, you've got to stay ahead, and things change on a daily basis now with social media, etc., right? So you've got to keep up with things. And something happened. I am part of this group, and I usually pay a lot of money with the people that I work with because that's the level that I'm at now, right? And I want high touch. I only want to pay for high touch. I want service. I am so driven by customer service as a consumer as well. All right. So um, I get a lot of high touch point areas. But the other day, well, not the other day, it was probably a couple months ago now, one of my mentors sent me a beautiful gift in the post, like old fashioned in the post, delivered to my home. Didn't know I was getting it. It wasn't in the, bonuses. It wasn't written anywhere. It just wasn't there. And it was a beautiful little ring. A ring. A piece of jewelry. It was gorgeous. And that delighted me so much. And of course, I contacted her straight away and thanked her very much, etc., etc. But that was so delightful receiving that. It was just a little icing on the top of the cake. And she thought enough, her team, I know that, but she wrote a little personal note in there, welcoming me on board, blah 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 blah. And I just thought, oh, how lovely that was, how beautiful that was. It wasn't a big deal to implement, right? And they probably buy it in bulk, and they should, okay, all of that stuff. But I just felt so special. And that's what you want to create for your clients and customers. Make them feel special. That's what customer strategy is. Customer service strategy is. So let's bring it back. I say, let's bring it back. It doesn't take much to improve and do better than your competitors. It really doesn't, and it can make all the difference, and it can make that person have a lovely experience and want to stick around, or want to say to you, great, now I've finished this, what's next? What can I do next with you? Because I don't want to leave this. I want to stay in this community. I want to stay with you on the journey, right? And of course, then you need systems to back up those customer service strategies. So you're always looking at systems, but it's not about systems to so much, improve the profitability. It's systems to improve the serviceability, right? To give more in a world where people take. Everyone is about taking today. It's really sad. It's just really, really sad. People are all about how much more can I get, not how much more can I give. And it's really silly because the more you give, the more you get. But you've got to give first. It's a law. It's a universal law. You give and then receive. You don't receive and then give. Right? So on that note, in the spirit of giving, I have decided I'm giving away 5 seats into my Roadmap to Millions boot camp. 5 seats only in this group. I will announce it the winners next week on the live. But you have to comment below Roadmap. And it's going to be based on an application. So I'm going to send you then a DM with some questions. You'll answer the questions because I only want people, I'm only giving it to people who will actually do the work. Okay. And this is an opportunity for those who can't normally afford $7,000, which is the cost of the program. All right. If you can't and you want to do that and you're paying attention and you're watching my live and you like what I'm doing, then 5 of you will get to come into that container, the Roadmap to Millions Bootcamp, for free, for 5 of you. Only 5. And you're going to have to put in an application. You're going to have to write to me. And I'll give you the questions. You're going to have to answer the questions. And I'll take the best 5 that I believe have got what it takes to complete it. And all I want from you is a testimonial if you believe I deserve it at the end. It's a 12-week program. It's online. Okay. 5 of you get Roadmap to Millions Bootcamp. Okay? Roadmap below in the comments. Now we'll see who's watching and who's listening and who goes to the end of the live. Okay? I look forward to it. I look forward to seeing who will be on board. And I'll announce it next Thursday when we go back to the Thursday lives. Okay, 10:30 a.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time. All right, everyone, have a great day. Really look at that customer service strategy stuff. And it makes a huge difference. And it's the thing that brings you repeat business. It's it's the best, easiest way to create repeat business, which is the name of the game. All right. Thanks, everyone. Have a great day. I'll see you later.